Welcome to Weekends in Rugby. I'm Howie. Today we're going to make pimento cheese, and I've got a few special tips for you to make our pimento cheese a little bit different. So we start with 2 8-ounce blocks of cheddar cheese. You're going to want to use sharp cheddar cheese. If you can't find exactly 8-ounce blocks, that's perfectly fine. This is not a recipe of exact measurements. You can use 10-ounce blocks, whatever you want. We're going to take it, we're going to cut into fourths and cut them into about even sizes. So with pimento cheese, this is something that I think is a little bit regional right now. It's mostly southern, but I understand from a good friend of mine up in Chicago that it's actually making its way up there. She was talking about pimento cheese recently, and I was surprised to learn that it was made in Chicago. You're also going to need 1 medium-sized onion, and so all we're going to do is just cut the skin off of the onion and go ahead and peel that so that we can drop that into our food processor. We are using the food processor today. We're gonna use all 3 different blades of the food processor, but we are just gonna take this onion, and now that we've got the peel off of it, we're going to just cut it into fourths so that we can put it into our food processor. We're gonna go over here to the food processor, put it in, put our lid on, and we are going to pulse this a number of times in order to be able to get it into a fine consistency. Then once we have that all processed up, we're going to take that blade out, put this into a bowl, scrape it out with your rubber spatula, and we're gonna set that aside. That's gonna make about 1 cup of onions all diced up. So just, you know, when you're thinking about picking your onion, the medium-sized onion in the grocery store, you're going for about a 1 cup amount of onions. We're gonna use the same bowl for the food processor. All these ingredients are gonna get put back in together, and so we don't have to worry about washing it out or anything. We're just gonna use it right as is. We're gonna take our grating blade or shredding blade, and we're gonna put the post on it, put it in here, and then put the top on. Then we're gonna feed everything down the feeder tube for the cheese. So we're just going to drop it down the feeder tube and then grate up the cheese. And we've got that all processed up. I think you can imagine how long that would take if we weren't using a food processor and just using a box grater. So it does save us a lot of time. Next, we're gonna need our green olives. The reason that I use green olives in my pimento cheese is before I was born, my mom moved from Memphis, outside of Memphis, up to Charlottesville, Virginia, where I grew up. And she went to the grocery store up there, and it was a little place called Carriage Food House. It was a very small little grocery store, and they didn't have pimentos. So she saw that the green olives had pimentos in them, got those and used those in her pimento cheese. And so my entire life growing up, we've always had pimento cheese with green olives, and that's how I still do it today. Then we've got our olives, and so we are going to put our olives down through the top of this. We can just go ahead and leave the cheese right in there. It's all going to get mixed up here in a minute anyway, but we're going to slice all of the olives using the Cuisinart also. So we've got our olives all sliced. Now we're going to take that whole bit of the green olives and the cheddar, and we're going to put that all into our bowl also. We're then going to go ahead and mix in all of the onion and the cheese and the olives, and we're going to try to get that all incorporated in together, trying to make sure that we see the onion incorporated all throughout that cheese. It's gonna be a lot easier when we add the rest of our ingredients. We only have 3 more ingredients actually, so it's pretty fast. You definitely want to use a larger mixing bowl. As you see, even with this very big mixing bowl, I am still struggling to keep it all in the bowl a little bit. Use the biggest bowl that you've got because that's just gonna make it easier. There's no point using a small bowl if you got a big one. So we've got our onion all incorporated throughout the cheese and our olives all mixed in there. And then we're gonna add 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. We're gonna use our 1/4 of a cup scoop because it fits down through the opening of the jar. And then another 1/4 of a cup. We're going to add black pepper, measuring out 1/4 of a teaspoon. Sprinkle that around. And then the last ingredient that we're going to add is 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne. And then we're gonna mix it all together, making sure to incorporate all of that pepper, the onion, the mayonnaise, the cayenne, all throughout it. And as we are mixing and mixing and mixing, we're actually starting to lose a little bit of volume because of the air in between the grated cheese. Now, if you didn't want to grate up all of that cheese, you could use already pre-shredded sharp cheddar, extra sharp cheddar. However, I don't necessarily recommend that because a lot of the sharp cheddars that you see out there that are already pre-grated, they have extra ingredients that aren't necessarily in the cheddar that are in the blocks of cheddar, and I'm not sure what that's all about. So trying to go for as few ingredients as possible in this, we're gonna stick with the blocks. So this is about the consistency that you want your pimento cheese. It's all incorporated and we're ready to go. So we've got it all incorporated up, all mixed in, and there we have the pimento cheese. Looks pretty good.